Hey, welcome to 2 Cents 54, everyone. This is the weekly live undoctored news show that we do here at Dollar Reviews. Our other shows are more traditional podcasty. We do recent TV and movie reviews and dollar reviews. Most recent
And this
episodes,
is free flow unedited.
yeah, it's kind of like I said, live
Am I
undoctored.
ruining your groove here?
No. So our most recent,
I'm making it more clear, the unedited part,
Sure.
for personal reasons.
our most recent dollar reviews episode was Swiss Army Man. We also did Finding Dory on that. We might do a Ghostbusters this week because I have a feeling I'm going to get a free ticket. And even if not, I don't know. I kind of fucking want to see it for some stupid reason. I know you do too.
I think I'm just gonna go now. Just cause, honestly,
Just
not
'cause,
because.
yeah.
Yeah, it's just like
How bad could it be, right?
I don't seriously. I don't. Hey, I accept the fact that I might hate it. I'm not looking to hate it, but. Geez, you know what? Screw it. May as well.
Yeah, I'm kind of.
I don't have. Pretty soon I won't be able to watch as many movies in theaters as I used to be. So
I'm kind of in the same
Why not?
boat. So it's like I kind of want to see it, but I don't want to not see it, and I don't want to hate watch it. But if I don't watch it now, I probably never will. And
I'm just gonna
just
watch it. That's
really just get to get another episode out there.
well, who knows? Maybe it'll jumpstart a franchise. So
I don't know about that. So the
Yay?
other
We'll
the other
see.
show we do is Debt to Cinema. It's our better show. It's kind of like a list of shame thing. We just did one for Michael Cimino's 1980 disaster, Heaven's Gate. So that's gonna be out on Wednesday. And some recent episodes we have for that show are The Witches, to tie in for the BFG's release. We also did one for Odd Thomas because of Anton Yelchin's passing. So that show's pretty fun. You can find all of it at dollarreviews.net. You can also find us on Facebook or Twitter at Dollar Reviews. And then if you also Google just Debt to Cinema, you can find all of our content. But like I said, it's all over the internet, not just Facebook and Twitter and our website, but WordPress, Tumblr, Google Play Music, iTunes, Podcast, Stitcher, TuneIn, YouTube. It's a very long list, archive.org, really all over the internet, besides like Spotify and Amazon. But that's probably going to change. We'll start the news with this. Audible said this week that they're going to create a new hub called Channels. It's going to include, news, celebrity shows, stand-up comedy, skits, and even like a new Dan Savage program. And if you don't know what Audible is, it's Amazon's audiobook library, I guess you could say. It's a marketplace. And so you get a monthly subscription. I think it's $14.95, and that includes one free audiobook a month, which is about the length of time it's going to take.
I thought it was as many as you wanted.
No, you get one token a month, and then you can buy as many as you want. But they give you one free one for being a member. And this new thing, Channels, is going to be separate for only $4.95. Or if you have the $14.95 fee, you're still going to be able to get the one free book a month and get this. And so this is meant to pad out the moments where you can't commit to a full book, or maybe you just finished one, or you have a shorter commute than normal, and they're allowing you, it's basically podcasting, or more like free-flow radio show. So something like us, like this show in particular, or any podcast for that matter, would probably fit really nicely on Channels, and I hope that that's something that happens, kind of the same way that they had the what do they call it, the Amazon Video Star creation or whatever, when they basically became a YouTube competitor a couple of months ago. I have a feeling.
Yeah, which I've not seen at all how that works yet.
Yeah, you can go to the
but
website.
I know
you
we
can
talked about it,
you can
though.
see like the, not the pricing, but the whatchamacallit, you can see how it works and how your content gets there. It's not meant for people like us. It's more like you have a big following already, and it's obviously it's video content. But if they were smart, Amazon would open this up to podcasters so they could get even more content out there, because Spotify, like I said earlier, we're not on there, and the reason is because it's close to impossible to be verified for Spotify unless your viewership or subscribership rather is in the millions.
It's insanely
Yeah,
high.
it's stupid dumb. They will only support the people that already have support. Whereas you can have a local band and get your music on Spotify. It's really backwards. But even Google Play Music, their podcast support isn't that great either. It took forever to roll out. So tying into Amazon Prime Day, which is coming up in just a day or two here, They have a lot of things going on. One of them being that if you subscribe for Audible right now, you can get a 3-month trial, and they'll give you $10 of Amazon credit for Prime members. They did this a couple of days ago. I think it was on the 7th or the 8th. They're going to be doing it again on the 12th for Prime Day. You might as well take advantage of this. You can try out one of their different programs that you might not use before, and it's a free $10. Like other things they have right now, they have like Prime Day early bird sales. But even cooler than that, if you have an Amazon Alexa, you can, if you order something on Prime right now, I think they give you like $30 free or something like that. So they're really pushing Prime Day. They want to make it be even greater success than it was last year, because no one really was satisfied.
Well, because last year it sucked.
Yeah, it pretty much sucked.
Although, hey, if they're doing sales on bed sheets this year and a bunch of other stuff, I probably will end up buying it because I got to move to a new place soon.
I mean, I bet you they will. It's just people were upset. It's like they didn't really do like a video game sales. They had a couple, but it was like hard to find
things
them.
that people love to get on Black Friday.
That's how it was kind of pitched. It was like, fuck Black Friday, this is Prime Day, even more savings, which is true. Like at the end of the day, they had a crazy exorbitant amount of things on sale, most notably being not Prime, but Amazon items themselves, Kindles, Kindle Fires, even the Alexa Fire TV sticks.
I mean, if you make that announcement online, internet people are of course going to think technology stuff, but no,
it was really weird.
Happen.
It was like boxes of Tide 2-for-1 special, save money. Like it was real stupid. I don't even know if I bought anything.
I did not. No, I just left it alone.
Yeah, I might have got something, but I have no recollection. I'm sure I will this year, just because like I have that $10 code, and then I have another $10 code, I think. So I have a little bit of like gift cards floating around that I'm sure there's something going to be out there. Like a couple of things that they've had leading up to it. They had both the Blu-ray box sets for the extended editions for The Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit. I think Lord of the Rings was like $25, and then Hobbit was like $35. Really great deals. Like for $60, you can get 3 movies.
Well, for Lord of the Rings.
Well, I haven't seen The Hobbit, but I'm just saying either way. Like I know they're really nice box sets with a ton of content. I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, if they got a deal on the blue unlocked phone, I'll probably take advantage of that.
They already got
that price for that phone, it's still pretty cheap.
$50.
But
we talked about on the show.
I still want to wait and see how that phone does, because I might buy it. I seriously might.
It's super cheap. I mean, it's not like cheap in a bad way. As long as you don't mind having the lock screen notifications, it's not going to be a problem. And because it's off contract.
Oh yeah, well I'm able to tune off that stuff like pretty well. So for me, it could work.
But because it's off contract, it's unlocked. You could sell it if you wanted to. You could have it. It's like the perfect price for a backup phone. It's like the one that you have, if that breaks, or say you're going on a road trip and you don't want to take your iPhone with you, take like a piece of shit Blue or that Moto G, and then it's like, well, I can drop it. Who cares? It's like,
and I got to travel soon, so it could be useful for that.
Yeah, it'd be nice for something like that. So we started the show. We didn't even really introduce ourselves. We introduced our content. But I'm Brian Gillis. I guess I'm the producer, a vague title. And I run the show.
If you listen to this show, well, at this point, I'm pretty sure you know who we are. If you don't, then hi, my name is Steven.
Yeah, so
it's nice to meet you.
Welcome to the show officially. So this week was really, really short. I tried to get Tyler on. He's busy, a friend's visiting or whatever. But even still, there's like 9 items, and we already did one of them. And the rest of the show is there's really nothing that happened this week, which is pretty rare.
There's like very few things that I'm qualified to talk about on here. Well, but we'll give it a shot.
Even still, there's like very little. So this next item, it was kind of meant for Tyler, because we talked off air about it. But Pokemon Go was released this week. Pretty big. I've been playing it a good amount. If you don't know what it is, it's basically, first off, it's Nintendo's second smartphone app. The first one was Miitomo a couple of months ago, which was a huge success for a couple of days, and then it died. This thing is in the same book currently. It's huge, like crazy huge, but I have a feeling like it's going to drop off in like 2 weeks or something. Just like the hottest trend.
There's a lot of people running around town that are really excited
because it just came out. It came out like 3 days ago.
Yeah, like obviously people are freaking out over it now, but yeah, like there's families walking down the streets together doing.
No, yeah,
this,
I can imagine, because I was going around yesterday. I was like in the passenger seat of a car and doing it as just like something to do. I was like at the Paramount backlot last night for like a cancer foundation block party, and I was doing it there. So I've been doing it a good amount. I'm not addicted to it or anything. I'm not going to do like a meetup or anything. I
Yeah.
don't see lasting appeal because it's not as interesting as a true Pokemon game.
Well, I do think, yeah, it's probably a game that people could get bored of
It's
real
it's
quick,
hardly a
for
game.
sure.
It's like you're walking around. It's called Go. The idea here is to exercise, but you can bike or fucking take a car.
Hmm.
And it like the Pokemon show up, you catch them, and then you go to the gym and you fight. Like it's not like a game. It doesn't really have anything going for it. It's that it uses augmented reality on a mobile platform. And so to have the real life overlays and the fact that the Pokemon centers and the gyms are real life landmarks, so it's like it's all geolocated. So when I was on the back lot last night, there was like the murals were the Poke centers, and like I passed by a park, and that park was the gym, and stuff like that. So it's kind of smart
I guess that explains why so many people are crowded around the Texas Capitol
for
building.
just any building. Yeah, like I think the
Yeah.
bigger the landmark is, the more important its space is in the game.
Oh yeah, like people are congregating there all the time because I work right by that place, and it's insane right
It's
now.
really weird. There's already been a couple of incidents, even though this app's been out for about 3 days now, involving it. And the first of which is, I think it was on Engadget where I read it. But there were thieves in Missouri that were luring targets at, like, taking place at the Poke Centers, which would be like the Capitol building in your case. So
Hmm.
they knew that someone would want to go there because how popular the game is, and then they were trying to lure them into getting robbed. It didn't work out in the situation. But that's like something that's probably just going to happen. But this one's even more bizarre. A 19-year-old girl in Wyoming was looking for like water-based Pokemon, so she ended up like going next to like a reservoir or a river. Had to jump the fence to get in there. Like she found whatever she was looking for. Like I think it was like a Dratini or like a Magikarp or some shit. And wow, like it's an AR app. If you haven't used it, basically it uses maps to know where you are, and then when you're
Hmm.
actually like in Pokemon catching mode, it uses augmented reality to overlay whatever's in the background, so it seems like you're actually catching the Pokemon. And
Okay, but this
yeah, so
girl,
this girl,
go
she
on,
jumped this riverbed to find this Pokemon. She caught it,
which is
and then
stupid.
she realized in the background that there was a dead body in the river. Um, yeah, so I guess this guy was just like in all black clothing, and she realized he was dead, called the cops, so it's fine. So yeah, Pokemon Go helped find a dead body already.
Wow.
Yeah, pretty just bizarre.
Did they know how the body got there to
That's
begin
not the
with?
news story, so
Was
I don't
someone else
know.
playing Pokemon Go and they?
Perhaps
I'm making a bad
very
joke,
bad
but
joke. But yeah, that
I thought that was the
no,
ending here.
that's not even the news story. It's just that I don't know, just the weird things that are already happening with this, and then also there's like widespread server issues, and it kills your smartphone really fast, and makes it feel like it's on
Yeah.
fire. But it is pretty fun. I've played it a lot, and that's why I wish Tyler's on the show because he like texted me like just straight up like. Speaking of Tyler Marchand, he runs the Future Horse podcast, Future Horse Pod on
You should
Twitter.
listen to it. It's actually
So yeah,
good.
he does cynical cartoons, the Adam Sandcast.
Why am I saying actually good? Like that's a surprise.
No,
It's
it
like no,
shouldn't, it shouldn't
it's
be
a really good
surprising.
show. I've listened to a couple
And then he
episodes.
has Get Real Rob with oh shit, what's his partners on that? But that one's about
Yeah, the Aussies.
yeah, I can't remember their podcast right
I
now.
don't. Have you listened to
I've
that?
listened to like 3 episodes of it. Yeah, it's real funny.
I don't know if I should even bother because I'm not going to watch the show.
No,
So.
it's funny regardless. It like the
Yeah.
show sounds so fucking stupid that it's a great setup for
Well,
the kind of comedy they're doing on it.
All right, yeah, fair enough. I'll take your word for
Yeah,
it.
my favorite show of his. We've been on single cartoons. I'm supposed to be on it before, again rather.
Mm-hmm.
But my favorite show of Tyler's is the Adam Sandcast, where he goes through the entire Adam Sandler filmography and talks about it. So anyway, I've had him on the show before. We talked about VR. It's something that's gonna actually there is no VR this week. But it's something that we talk a lot about on the show, VR, AR a little bit. And so he just texted me. He was like, yeah, so I need to bite my tongue because I've experienced VR and AR through Pokemon Go, and I can't get enough of it. And I'm like, yeah, that's like nothing. That's like training wheels. So it would have been fun to rub in his face just a little bit. Was that dead body yours? Or did you die from overexposure? But yeah.
Sure, I guess. Yeah.
Moving on to another Go though. This one's a lot bigger. It's not a news story that I particularly care for, and only made the show because I realized how scamp our news items or selection was. But Counter Strike Go, and the Go in this case stands for Global Offensive, which is like what the again, like fourth version of Counter-Strike. It goes Counter-Strike, and then 1.6 Source, and now Go, and you could even throw like Condition Zero anywhere.
I didn't even know this was still
Oh,
existing.
it's a huge thing. Any Valve game is huge, and so tons and tons of people play it. It's like a big esport. It's a global. It's not. It's past a phenomenon now. It's just like a global norm. Like people play it, and like it's not a trending game. It's just constantly popular, consistently.
It's just there,
just
yeah.
there. And a big part
It's
of
like World of Warcraft.
not like that. I mean, they're
Not as much of a phenomenon. But
they're apples and oranges. One's an MMO and one's just a FPS. But anyway,
Fair enough.
Counter-Strike Go, there's a huge gaming scandal that's going on around it currently. It involves these two YouTubers with huge followings. Their names are T. Martin and Pro Syndicate. And basically what happened in a nutshell is they were revealed to be on the board for a gunskin gambling site that they both promoted extensively on their YouTube channels without disclosing to their fan base that they had any relationship to the site. So they make videos, something like this. Basically, in the game, you unlock chests. Those chests have like skins for the guns, and then you can go onto websites and sell the skins for real money and gamble. And it's kind of like real weird in the same way that what FanDuel and stuff like that are, and which just got like embargoed in New York State not too long ago, and basically like 16-year-olds are gambling using this game, and it's like not illegal yet, and so without disclosing anything to their fan base, they would make these videos like, I just made $10,000 from selling my skins, and then once you know it, the website that they sold them on, they happen to actually have a majority stake in. So they're promoting their own business through their own fan base without letting them know, oh, by the way, we're telling you to support something that we already get paid for regardless. So it was really huge. This happened, I think it was like, it happened the 4th of July, actually. It was like late the 3rd, all of the 4th, and even the day after that. I'm sure they lost, both of them, a lot of subscribers, but it doesn't matter when you have millions and millions in the first place.
yeah.
But they immediately removed all the content in question, not just them, but others that had also stakes in the site that also didn't disclose it. So they removed the content, but the unethical / misleading ploy on hand here, like it totally tarnished the reputations, even for a day or so. And it was.
Well, if they still have enough subscribers,
Yeah,
like
I said, it's
I
not.
don't know, it's still too soon to call, but yeah, that's a dick thing.
It's beyond
Absolutely.
a dick thing. It's like the internet does not like things like that. Like you don't want to piss off your fan base by misleading them. It'd be like if we did a $1 views episode for a movie that just came out, and then we're like, oh, by the way, we both were Kickstarter funders for this. We backed it on Kickstarter, and that's why we did the episode. Or like we got the
Yeah,
director
it's like, hey,
on.
I can't talk positively about Zach Braff's movie because I donated money
Right.
to it.
Yeah.
Something like that.
It's like that's you have to have that kind of disclosure, or just.
I don't know. I feel like if we were getting paid for it, then yes, but
Well, they weren't getting paid necessarily, but the content they were making was ending up paying them, if that makes sense. So it's
Yeah.
not.
they were still getting returns
Yeah,
from it.
it's
That's
not
the
a
thing.
question of ethics. It's entirely wrong. It's just they didn't give a fuck because money's money, and it's the internet's still kind of the Wild West. Like what are the rules in terms of YouTube disclosure for sites you own when you're reviewing content?
Honestly, I think the internet just. I just think it doesn't break anybody. It's just they take verbal abuse and beatings, but then it just reverts back to the way that things were.
Maybe, I don't know.
I mean, they probably won't get any new fans out of it, but they're probably still going to be. You just said they did not lose a shitload of subscribers.
I don't think so. I mean, it's not something I tracked. I don't know where numbers they were at before, and or especially not now. And I'm not a subscriber to either content, but I know who they are. I've seen them like for who they are, not just their persona. Like some of the YouTube stuff I watch, like they either actually make an appearance or their names come up. Or for instance, I was watching Drifter do a live stream of Call of Duty the other day, and one of the people in the chat asked him about it, and he went off on it for about 10 minutes or so. And so anyone in the community has an opinion on it. I'm not quite in it, but I can understand what the backlash for this. But it's like such a minuscule concept. For instance, 2 days later, we've since had a couple of major shootings Not widespread, but singular activity. Well, I guess the Dallas shooters thing was pretty good. Not good, but big.
Not good.
Big,
No,
I mean.
no, don't say
And
that.
so
Oh
that's
man.
kind of just not dissipated, but this news story has become lessened because of more pressing matters.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of. It was a really shitty week in general for
Yeah.
America.
So I
Yeah.
don't know the lasting effect this is going to have, but it'd be really interesting down the line to see if any ramifications happen. I hopefully, if this gambling ring that Valve is basically promoting through Counter-Strike, if it gets shut down in the near future, or maybe just kind of watchdogged, that these guys might be pulled into court over something. I don't know, but it could make for a real interesting setup to a movie, or maybe even just a TV show, or like a CSI episode in the future, like NCIS. It's like, oh, these two guys run a gambling ring in Counter-Strike, or something like that.
Really? I don't know. That just sounds
Oh,
way too
no,
silly to me.
CSI
I mean,
Cyber does shit like that.
no, like I buy that we could be in a world that would accept that. It's just wow, like that does not sound entertaining to me at all.
I didn't know.
It's such a.
I don't watch CSI or NCIS, but that's the kind of content that they put on there.
It's well, I don't watch
Yeah.
it, so there's a very good reason for that.
It's pretty funny though. Like they're just the shit out there. This is probably the biggest item of the week. It's something we talked about on air. It doesn't really mean anything, but it kind of meant a lot to a lot of people.
That's how big.
Yeah,
it is.
so Star Trek Beyond, they've announced leading up
Oh,
to the
okay.
movie that John Cho's Zulu is gay. He's been gay the whole time, and so I guess he has like a moment before the shit starts going where he's with his partner, and they share some kind of embrace or something. We'll find out in a couple of weeks. And so that it was like real weird. I think this happened on like Wednesday, and then on Thursday, George Takei comes out and goes, "I'm not amused. I really wish that they created a new LGBTQ character, then instead changed Gene Roddenberry's details that he originally came up with." And then, of course, the day after that, Simon Pegg's like, "I disagree with you." So it went from like the internet being really happy about Star Trek having a gay character to a gay man being upset that the character he played is now gay, to the now creators disagreeing about the stance on gay characters in the continuity. It's so bizarre. It's like
What's your reaction?
so I
You
followed
want me to
it
go first?
as it happened. So I was like, "Oh, this is cool," and then I went, "Oh, George Takei doesn't like it. It's not cool anymore." And then I saw the Simon Pegg thing. I went, "I don't really give a shit because I don't really care about these movies anyway."
Well, my general reaction to it was like, fine. I mean, it doesn't really offend me in any way. There's no reason for it to, but I was just kind of like, do we really need that? I mean, because the best way that I'm sort of more sympathetic to Takai,
Dilf,
like in this
dilf,
way. And
dilf. That's a total dilf, dude. It's a dad I'd like to fuck.
no,
That's gonna
it's
be the
just
line in
I
this
don't know the
movie.
way I feel about it, and it's yeah. Actually, let me start with this. Talking about a different movie here, but I saw like a few brief reviews of Ghostbusters because out of curiosity, everyone's shitting on this thing, and like this thing on Slash Film just threw a bunch of mixed tweets and stuff on there, and I saw one that said, "Hey, it's cool that kids are at least going to get their own version of Ghostbusters." And honestly, that actually just bummed me out to hear that, because it's like, is that really what we're doing? We're just giving kids like
Well,
a
it's
variation
not-
of something that was big instead of
It's not kids
giving
though.
them
It's
something new.
anyone that didn't have
No, but
exposure
I'm
to
just
the
saying.
franchise to begin with. And this is the
I'm just
same
saying,
thing
though,
for.
there's people that grew up, but there's people that grew up in the '80s and they got Ghostbusters.
Well, they
like to
could
them
have
that
got
was
Ghostbusters.
new, so that is theirs.
Not everyone.
I'm just saying, like, hey, we got like, what did we get? We got Lion King, we had Toy Story, we got Pirates of the Caribbean, we got Lord of the Rings. Like, we got a bunch of stuff like from our time that was ours.
I wouldn't
now
say Lord of
everything's
the
just
Rings
being
is
like
ours.
Cinematically,
Sure.
it's ours, but now it's just a bunch of stuff that's variations on other stuff that exists and is referencing the original stuff, like, and or just like changing it up a bit. I don't know. When I saw this, I was just thinking like, yeah, like why? I mean, I don't, I don't really need to see a gay Sulu for any reason. It's just like,
It really
okay,
doesn't
I don't
matter
need to see,
in the long run.
I don't need to see a gay Green Lantern either. I don't know. I don't need
I'm
variations.
pretty sure
like, they
there
don't
is
offend me.
a gay Green Lantern though. There's a ton of
That's,
Green
yeah,
Lantern.
no,
Corps
there is
cops.
There is.
so.
That's why I'm bringing it up. Is that we're getting like all these variations, like there's a female Thor. It's all like everything is just like, oh,
That's
let's
nothing. The new
take
Iron Man is a
this character
16-year-old
and do
black
a different
woman.
version of it. All right, yeah, no, but I mean, like, my point is that, like, yeah, I'm more sympathetic to his point, which is like, hey, just do a new character and make him gay, and like,
Idris Elba's Thrall,
even
make
then,
him gay.
I get Simon Pegg's reasons for doing it. I don't see why it has to be Sulu.
It was,
And if anything, it just seems kind of more offensive because like it seems like Sulu's the obvious choice because it's like, oh, you got to reference
to real
George
life,
Takei
yeah.
in some way. Like, yeah, I mean, it's just like, hey, you can do that for no reason. I don't know how the movie's gonna do it.
Listen,
But
I think it's going to be a very unimportant little thing where
it probably will. Yeah,
it doesn't
it's
even
just,
matter.
But it does seem like, I don't know, the thought of like, hey, we got to do a variation that goes against, I don't know what people. I don't know why.
This was a leaked
Honestly,
detail
like,
to get.
I do think like, hey, Simon. My point is like, hey, if Simon Pegg, if those are your intentions, why did it have to be Sulu? Like specifically, that's where I'm more sympathetic to Takai. Is like, why specifically does it have to be Sulu? Why could it not be anyone else?
I don't know. Just it's an unimportant little leak detail to get people on the side of the movie before it comes out. I mean, this week is about Ghostbusters, and this was their way to kind of get the attention on them before Ghostbusters took over.
Yeah.
And like Secret Life of
At
Pets,
the same time, I really don't have an opinion on this.
Secret Life of
I don't. I'm really bitching for no reason.
Secret Life of Pets made $100+ million this weekend, so
yeah, and that's fine. That's for kids, and kids are going to enjoy
Star
it.
Trek is
and,
for kids too.
They should. So
like all these movies, the
but
Ghostbusters,
really little kids. Come on, like.
Like if it's not
Have
rated
you been
R,
in the theater and saw the trailer for Secret Life of Pets with a bunch of toddlers. It's like, yeah, okay, it's. For
I
them.
saw it with
Okay,
adults
it's for
too,
the really, really
and the
little
adults
kids.
also seem to like the trailer.
Yeah, there's always some chick that's going, oh, that's
no,
so
it was
cute.
there
I
was
wanna see that
dudes,
shit like
it
that.
was guys older than us. But
Well, Kevin Hart shitting bunny shit on stuff. I don't know. I guess that makes people laugh.
any movie that's not rated R today is meant for kids. The superhero,
That's
it's not made for them in particular, but parents will take them to see it. Like we've talked about, how dissatisfied it was during Batman vs Superman that I had kids in my audience for a midnight screening. How obnoxious the kids were during my Age of Ultron screening. All of these movies, not just the new ones, not just the reboots. We're talking about Ghostbusters and Star Trek and even Star Wars. All the stuff that's being kind of reimagined for our present generation by not necessarily updating the technical specifications so they have smartphones and use social media, but just making it prettier, easier to digest, and just flat out accessible for the current generation. I feel like it's just targeting not necessarily us, but the ones younger than us, not because they didn't have any access to the original, like not sources, but the original films to begin with, and it's not just films, it also includes TV shows and books and video games and just about any kind of media. But it's more so, let's get more money from the people that aren't aware that this has already made money. Like in the same way that Pirates of the Caribbean is probably going to get a reboot in like 10 or 15 years,
God, I'm dreading it.
It's going to. And
oh yeah,
and that's okay. The only people that are going to hate it are the people, our age and older that were like, oh, that came out when I was a kid. Like, why are you ruining that? All the kids.
It's like we see like Captain Jack Sparrow, and it's like, I don't know, they cast whoever the fuck.
I can't imagine someone else out doing it.
Justin Bieber or something, and hashtag not my Jack Sparrow.
Like it's not gonna matter because we already got our version, but we're
exactly.
Nevertheless, we're gonna shit on it just because, for the same reason, the internet's getting mad about Ghostbusters, because it's not their version of it. It's not what they grew up with, and it kind of taints your own association. Like, you can't believe that it wasn't sacred, or at least not sacred enough. Like, Back to the Future is the rare exception in Hollywood. Like, I'm still at Goonies. Like, I'm surprised that Steven Spielberg has enough pull to make those films are unable to be remade or adapted again or sequelized or anything without his approval. A very lucky man.
Yeah. No, but I mean, that is a different issue. I mean, I take more issue with the fact that it's just sad that kids are not getting something new really to call their own.
They do.
I mean,
Transformers is something different, but I mean, still an adaptation of a toy line and TV show. But Transformers
It's
is
still, I
new.
mean, there's very few things, and maybe I am a bit of a hypocrite because I got my James Bond, which was Pierce Brosnan, but then again, like that series was it's been going on forever. It's not like it needed to be rebooted or
It kind of
revamped
did
or
though.
anything.
I like the way that they did
it. Yeah, but I mean that's a series that's just naturally evolving into something else, like as it goes, and it's not like it had to come back after like 50 years or something.
It was going to come back anyway. It never leaves, so it didn't come back in the first place.
Exactly.
But I think James Bond is a perfect example of this kind of thing. Like every generation has their own James Bond. We think of Pierce Brosnan.
There's been a long enough. I don't know compared to like Ghostbusters or like Star Trek.
I'm just saying, like it's a lesser example. But the first movie going crowd, they had Sean Connery, and then the people after them, they had I was going to say Lazenby, but I doubt that counts.
But then they got
Connery got Connery back. But yeah, they got Roger Moore.
Yeah, that was for the people that had.
And then
Connery,
they got
and
Brosnan,
like, no,
and now they got Daniel Craig. They're going to get someone else, David Hilton, like. Not David, I'm Daniel. They're going to get someone else, okay? And so that's going to be the next generation. So James Bond is like the exception to the rule. It's kind of built on the idea that everyone gets their own version of him. And something like Ghostbusters, because it only lasted so long, it hurts a lot more people. Whereas Star Trek, like it's been going nonstop since the mid '60s. It is the same thing. There's like 5 different shows. They have another one coming. It's really split between, I guess, 3 different versions: the original cast, Next Generation, and the J.J. Abrams. But even still, I don't know. Like I said, this news story, because I followed it as it happened. It's kind of interesting now, the fact that this thing that should have been cool was hit with backlash immediately by the actor who originated him. And
I think that just the thing that just seems really insulting is that they just did not take anything he said seriously, and they totally just dismissed him. And that's the thing where I'm just like, yeah, I'm much more on Takai's side for that. Like, hey, if you have good reasons, even if it's like a small thing, that's like, yeah, for this day and age, yeah, that's cool. But then at the same time, like, just if he doesn't want it, it's like, you're telling him that you're going to do this as if you're searching for his approval, and he doesn't give it to you. Well, I don't know. I guess from a creative standpoint, you do have to just say, well, fuck it. We know why we're doing this, and it's for something more than just George Takei saying it's okay. But yeah, at the same time, it really just seems like they just kind of stabbed him in the heart there.
I think it's a cool little wink to George Takei being, like a big gay rights activist, and like it could have been anyone else, but it is the obvious choice, and I don't think there should be a problem.
It's
with
like, yeah, that's the thing is because it's so obvious. Like it feels like. It's going to be that thing that you see that'll take you out of the movie, and you get it why they put it there. It seems like it doesn't. It's kind of more insulting in a way because it's not the choice that is there just to show, oh, hey, this is just a casual, normalized thing, and it happens to be this character. Like when you see that, it's like, oh, that's because George Takei was the original guy that played that, and you put 2 and 2 together. Of course, they would do that. So it really. I don't know. It doesn't really have a positive effect. I have not seen it, but just like based on the way that's described to me, and with all this information put out beforehand, people are going to get. I don't think they're going to get what the intention of it is.
I don't think there's any.
They're just going to think it's a cool.
Yeah,
nod.
I think it's a cool nod. Like, let's face it, having a gay character.
We don't need
finally
that.
having a gay character in Star Trek doesn't make a damn difference. In the same way that if there was,
if you just have one that happens to be, and it's not
even
a big
still,
deal,
it's not going to matter because it's a
mean,
movie, and relationships that happen into like a franchise like this never matter. So even if they did introduce a new character and he fell in love with Zulu, like it's not going to matter because it's probably not going to matter in the next movie. Like this is a movie in a series. It's not a one-off. The relationships don't matter. Like I'm sure Sofia Boutela's character is going to kiss someone on the crew. Like it's gonna happen. Like
whose character?
Sofia Boutella, the Blade lady from Kingsman, the new Mummy in the Tom Cruise Mummy film.
Is she new in the movie?
Yeah, she's the white chick who's not a Klingon, but whatever she is.
I have not seen trailers for it.
So I'm sure she's going to have a love interest. I'm sure Kirk is going to get it on with someone. Like it doesn't matter. It's going to be blockbuster, just popcorn magic moments.
Oh yeah, no, it won't hurt the movie, but it's like all I'm saying is like, yeah, I think they kind of just screwed over Takai there and just didn't take him seriously, and that's where I'm like, I mean, yeah, that's a bummer.
I don't care. Like,
It's weird because you want to like sort of pay a nod to him, but like, yeah, if I don't know, you don't consider how they're gonna feel about it. It just seems like a dick thing.
he hasn't been in any of these movies. I mean, no one from the original cast besides Leonard Nimoy has, for that matter. So it's not like they really took their concerns into, or any of their thoughts into consideration. And it's also not like they like their
Either way,
fan base. Look at our acts in our
Plus,
conversation 2 weeks ago.
you can justify this anyways, like it doesn't taint anything that Roddenberry did or Takai did because they're in a parallel timeline. So things just went differently. I mean, I can accept
It's just
that.
a little funny thing. Like, if they had waited, if they
Yeah.
didn't share,
It's not so little. It's been a big piece of news this week.
like compared to other things we've already talked about and the things we haven't, it's like really unimportant. And if they had done the normalized route and just waited for the movie to come out, and then critics to go, "Oh my God, not Takai, but oh my God, Zulu's gay now," like I think it would have had a bigger impact than it does now. Like, this is something that we're probably going to forget about before the movie's released. And if we don't,
And then when we see it, we'll just be like,
yeah, it's going to be whatever.
Yeah.
Like, it could have had not like a magical feeling to it, but it could have been something that you walked away from talking about. Like, oh my God, like he's gay. And now it's going to be like,
I don't
didn't
like,
you
yeah,
know he
it's-
was gay going in? Like,
It's true, yeah. Like they're probably trying to neutralize it, and I think that's smart, I guess. But I don't know. I really hate that at the same time because like I really wish I did not know these things and they
Yeah.
could be more surprising. And then that would just say a lot more about culture. Seeing if people reacted just like it was okay, like they didn't have to warn us ahead of time. Like I know you didn't watch the show, but Legend of Korra, like that entire show ends on a note that pissed off a lot of fans. And like yeah, I don't know. That was interesting too. Like, do you know anything about how the
Nope,
show
don't
ends?
care. Seeing
Okay,
episodes
yeah.
of Avatar, just nope.
Yeah, people lost their shit, and I was oblivious. Like, apparently they were setting up this whole lesbian romance, but yeah, I did not catch on to it at all during the season. And yeah, things made more sense later, but it just kind of seemed like it was thrown in there just out of random. But yeah, just the fan backlash on that, it was insane. So I don't know, maybe that's something they're trying to avoid. But regardless, I just want the movie to be good. I'm pretty sure this won't affect it. And like even if I'm rewatching the movie like 20 years from now, enjoying it, I won't be thinking about this.
I might. I mean, these are the little things that matter.
20 years from now,
Yeah,
you'll be
maybe.
thinking about this.
Like, I mean, I have a pretty good. Well, I mean, I've yet to live 20 years and remember something really, but I have a pretty good memory when it comes to things of this nature. Like, I kind of hold on to the little trivial things because it makes for interesting conversation.
Okay, yeah. Well, like when I say like, yeah, for sure. But like when I say like remember, I mean like I'm also implying like I won't care at the same time. Like it's not like I'll see it and then it'll burn in like some deep important thought on the movie when I'm watching
No,
it.
it'd be interesting. And this is like a parable, but if, like, say, I started doing a new podcast in 20 years, and we did an episode on Star Trek Beyond for some reason, I'm fairly certain I would go, "Oh, do you remember when they made a big thing about Zulu being gay in this movie?" Like, it'd be
In conversation,
it'd be
you
a
could,
fun thing to
absolutely.
talk about. Like, I would remember it for that reason, the same way that
And you'll be talking to some kid that's 20 that was just born the year
it's
that
like,
came
weren't-
out.
aren't
Yeah.
characters always gay in media now? I thought that was the norm. Like, isn't that how we stopped the population problems? Just everyone went gay, right?
It's like, isn't Spider-Man gay?
It's gonna be one of those things.
It's like I thought him and Deadpool always had a thing.
There's this really funny page from the latest Spider-Man Deadpool comic where they're talking.
Yeah.
They're leaving like a joke version of Batman vs Superman. They're talking about how bad it is, and then they both start talking about their own movies, and it's pretty funny. You need to hunt this down. I saw it on Reddit, but I'm sure if you just Google like Spider-Man Deadpool Batman Superman, like it'll pop up the first thing. But it's a real funny thing. It's hard to really break down this episode. It's usually important, tech, like stupid, whatever.
I don't know if we're set on a flow
for-
at all. Like, I don't think we ever
For
were.
this one, for this episode though, it's even lesser. So here's the final, I guess you could say, important news item, even though it also doesn't quite mean much. But the guy behind BoJack Horseman is going to be doing, or currently is doing rather, a rewrite for the Lego sequel movie. This news comes shortly after they announced a calendar move for it. I think it got pushed back like a month or something like that. So I don't know if this is a good thing. I know Chris Miller and Phil Lord did the treatment or maybe even the script actually for the second movie, and now they got someone else coming in to fix it. Um, is this Warner Brothers losing faith in their dynamic duo, or do you not care? I mean,
I don't. I mean, I have not. I don't really care. I really don't.
I just thought it was a news item. Like this is something
it is such a
yeah.
slow
This one was
week.
kind of
Have you seen BoJack
I've seen like
Horseman,
an
though?
episode. I don't really know what to make of it. This was meant for Tyler. Like I know he really, really likes that show. He's done several episodes on it, and so it was a talking point kind of geared towards him, just to get him interested. But he can eat a dick because he didn't want to come on the show. It's like I wish I had friends, and I couldn't do podcasts because I had to hang out with them, but I don't. Moving to tech things, and this isn't quite tech.
It's funny. Like I feel like I'm so much more out of the loop now on. Why did I decide to do a podcast at a time when I was just like intentionally losing interest in things?
I don't know. That's on you.
I don't know. Why do we do anything? Let's
So
move
yeah,
on,
this is
sorry.
the tech section, which I said earlier. There's no VR, which is a shame, but it's a lot slower and less important than anything it usually is.
It looks like a slow week in here, yeah.
But I mean, I guess it's kind of cool. A lot of people watch UFC. They just had like its 200th big fight this weekend. There's like a lot of stuff in the news about the title fight like being broken up because one of the fighters was like violated PED rules and he did cocaine. Whatever, it doesn't fucking matter. The news point here is that the fight was broadcast and streamable in 4K on DirecTV and through Sony sets. And this is the first UFC fight to do that. There's been some baseball, some basketball, some soccer stuff, but this is the first time there's been a pay-per-view event in 4K. And the crazy thing with tech is once it happens one time, it's going to happen always. So I'd be surprised like every pay-per-view event in the future, like including like WWE and boxing and just about all of it is in 4K because we're kind of at that point in the technological evolution of broadcasting now.
Well, yeah, I mean, like, and especially even when you're shooting it in 4K, it could always be down converted to 1080p.
Well,
so,
I think there's a
like,
difference.
it can always be broadcast.
Yeah, I think
out of
there's a
that,
difference
and,
with broadcasting.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, if you have a 4K TV, or not TV, if you have a 4K
it's not as
camera.
difficult as like them shooting the World Cup in 3D or anything.
Yeah, but if you have a 4K camera and you have a set-top box that allows 4K content, like, satellite speeds are fast enough that I'm sure if they wanted to, they could make 8K streamable if you had the bandwidth on both ends.
Honestly, like I actually looked at a couple 4K TVs and they did let me play with them this time at Walmart. I think I'm good.
You think
with
you're
1080p? I'm sure I'll eat those words later, but seriously, like I think I'm good. Like there's just something about it, like, and maybe I was looking at a 40-inch TV, but like unless it's blown up bigger, then it seems like when it's just that resolution is compressed to such a small screen, you just get this really unnaturally sharp image that I'm not a big fan of.
Well, chances are you're not
Like,
going to actually buy a
it's
40-inch set. Like that's meant for a bedroom,
No.
and then that's kind of stupid. Like why would you want 4K in your bedroom in the first place? Like you're meant to be buying a 60 to 100-inch screen for your living
Exactly.
room so everyone can go, "Oh wow, this is like really pretty." And more so
Yeah, but I mean, it's like even when I look at that stuff, I'm just kind of like, hey, I don't know, man. I think I might be set. I don't know.
it's more so
I could very well eat those words later, but yeah, well, I was like, I was also playing around with Star Trek actually, which was one that I really wanted to be cool, but I don't know. I just felt like, yeah, this is way too sharp, and it just flattens the image. Like there's no depth to it. It's just
well,
all
let me just
sharpness.
let me
and
remind you
contrast. I'm
something
like,
that I've told you a couple of times and you probably forgot. When you watch 4K content in 3D, it splits the
Yeah.
image into 1080p for each eye, which is something that 1080p TVs drop down to 720i for each eye. So
Yeah.
that is kind of important. Like you're getting the true 3D image. The catch is that you can't. I don't think you can up convert 3D content, so you'd have to go out and buy a 4K 3D Blu-ray. But even still, it's a cool concept.
I don't even think there is a 4K.
Yeah, not
Blu-ray.
yet.
Like,
I'm sure it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Not too long from now, like later this year.
I don't know. Yeah, for now, just I think I'm good though. But I don't know.
Well, if you had the liquid assets, I'm sure you'd think differently. It's like, oh, I'm getting a new place. Might as well get a new TV. Why would I buy a new TV with old technology? Duh.
No, I'd rather get a projector. Honestly,
Yeah, like I don't know.
That's what I'm
like
gonna
projectors
get. Yeah, that's
are
my next
great
thing.
for for watching like movies with a crowd or something.
Which I do.
But if I had my own place, I wouldn't want a projector because
Hey, I'm awesome when it comes to hosting movies. Like I fucking set up my own trailer
I didn't
playlist
say.
and everything.
I'm not saying you aren't. I'm just saying if I'm alone and I'm ingesting media, I want a TV because I can watch it with the lights on, with the lights off. I can rotate it depending on angle. If there's glare, I can fix that. When you got a projector, you need like a pitch black area to really enjoy the content. Like someone can't get up and go to the bathroom because they're going to block out half the screen. And they don't. I don't think they have 4K projectors yet either. So, well,
No.
obviously they have them in theaters,
but
but like not for the consumer.
No, but I mean, yeah, dude. Like I really want a projector. Like I think that's just. I don't know. 4K. There's. I mean, it's like I love it when I see it in theaters. I just don't think I need it at home. Like I seriously think 1080p might be at that point where it's like it's good enough. Where digital
Well,
is
SDs
like still needs to progress, but we are at a point where it's like yeah, this is acceptable for home viewing.
like
Like
standard
I just
def
don't
is
need...
good enough if you want to be frank. Like it was good enough
Yeah,
for like
no,
50 plus years, and
Standard def is
yeah,
still
it's still
good.
well, unless you're on a HD display. But if you have a standard def
I mean, like,
television
getting standard
and you're
def,
watching
yeah.
like content on it like a VHS tape, like unless you're a fucking snob, you're not gonna have a problem with it. It's just
No,
I
like standard def DVDs look good.
not to
on,
me.
Yeah, because
like when I put a DVD,
check the sharpness.
it's
on
not
your
even
TV,
that,
first
but
of
it's just
all.
when I put a DVD in my Blu-ray player, it just I can tell now. I've been spoiled by getting a nicer TV.
Well, here's the thing: is like there are good compressed like DVDs, but then there's also bad ones, and most of those are the very, very early ones. So I don't know. I think it might have a lot to do with compression because I mean, especially like if you go to Redbox now and you get a DVD that was just put out, it likely will look really, really good. Probably great, honestly. But if you get like a DVD from the '90s with like a really shitty, not that great transfer, like you could probably see the pixels in there a lot more, and maybe it's even non-anamorphic, then it'll look shitty.
I just think it generally
It really depends.
Technology is only as good on the technology you display it on.
It's like, yeah, now we've gotten really great at compressing movies down to standard def that it can almost look practically pixel free unless you're really looking forward
I
to
mean,
it.
you
Not
can
forward,
get
but
like
looking
an
forward.
hour and a half long movie in 1080p compressed down to like 800 megabytes, and it looks great, and that fits on a DVD no problem. So it's not a question of the compression, like I said. It's just I know with my eyes when even on Netflix, even on YouTube, if I'm watching standard def content on my 1080p display, whether that be my phone, I can't really tell. But if I'm watching it on my TV, my Samsung set, I'm like, nope, I totally know what I'm watching right now.
Honestly, I that doesn't make sense to me because I'm sure you have DVDs that have higher bit rates than a bunch of the video
I
files that
rarely
you're watching,
use my
and-
DVDs anymore. I'm talking more like I'm watching something through my cable. I have satellite, and it's very obvious. Like you'll get a message on screen that's like, "Signal is currently too weak to display HD content. You have the standard def." And you can just tell because instead of fitting the whole screen, it's about a fourth, like 3/4 the size it's supposed to be in the center with like a black box around it, and it doesn't look great. And it's like not necessarily the frame rate, but something about it is off. And even if it was full size, that'd be worse. But I think, like I said, I think it's just
I don't
me
know,
being.
Yeah, DVDs still look great to me. I mean, at this point,
I think it's just me being spoiled because I
there's flaws.
I loved watching DVDs on my CRT. Like if I took it, I should do it just as a test. Like put the same movie in the same quality on my HDTV and on my CRT and see which one looks better. Like I'm sure it's gonna.
No, like it'll be
Yeah.
9K. Like I had like an old box TV that 4 years ago I just played around with because it had a built-in VCR, and I even plugged in my PS2 to
No,
see
it
how
looks
that
great. Yeah.
looked. Holy shit! No, it hurt
Really?
my eyes. Like
No,
it
PS2.
was really blurry. Like
I've
like
been.
DVDs looked way better on my flat screen.
That must be. I don't know. I remember for a long time. I watched movies on my PS2 on my crappy
Oh
big
yeah,
box
like
TV.
it's just like if I kept doing it, my eyes could adjust. But yeah, I mean, it was really really difficult to get used to. Like, and there was a certain point where my eyes got used to it that when I switched it over to like my flat screen, I just popped into DVD and it felt like I was watching HD for the first time, and that was just a fucking DVD.
It was the first time I saw HD, and I wasn't in on it. I was like, "You guys are smoking something. This does not look as good as 480i. You're wrong. You're wrong about that. I'm sorry." Like I would tell people, I'm like, I don't understand HD. Much in the same way you're talking about 4K right now. I'm like, nah, you're wrong. Like that, I'm just
Well,
as
no, like, it's
satisfied
not
with
that
this
4K.
TV. The blacks are better on
Yeah,
CRTs.
it's not that 4K looks bad. It's
You don't
just
need it.
like it. Well, I don't know. It's like it's like you have this very very fine like perfectly cooked steak, and someone just put way too much seasoning on it. Like that's what it looks like.
I'm still gonna. I'm sure I'll buy a 4K display of some sort, probably in the next 3 years.
I don't know. We'll see. I think I'm much more likely to get a VR headset before I get a 4K
Well, that's the
TV,
thing, though.
but-
VR headsets, they don't even have 4K displays for them yet. The best you can do is get in 2K, and because it's
Yeah,
so
that's-
close,
that's
because
good
it's so
enough.
close to your
I mean,
face,
I don't know,
though.
according to my eyes, maybe, but
You got to remember that a 4K or not 4K, a VR headset is less than an inch away from your eyes, and the pixel density at that distance makes a big distinction between the content. Like if you have like,
I still have to experience it before I say.
I'm just
anything,
saying, like
but,
say you
yeah.
have like an iPhone 4 and you put it in your Google Cardboard, and then you grab a like a Samsung Galaxy S7, put it in there, it's gonna be a 9-day difference. Like you're gonna know just the density of the pixels, like the details that close do matter, and it's when, like, I'm sure well, I don't know if there's even any Android apps that support 4K yet, but if you wanted to have like the best VR visual aspect going for you, if you got the Sony Xperia Z5 Ultra, like it would be insane. Like I don't want to imagine, because then I just want to upgrade my phone and I can't afford that. Moving to some streaming stuff, though, we're talking about 4K, DirecTV, and what broadcasting, but streaming, internet. This is something that we talked about, I think it was not last week, but 2 weeks ago, how there's a rumor that the CW shows could be coming to Netflix a couple of days after the season ended.
Yeah.
It's true.
It was 2
Yeah, the
weeks ago,
CW has confirmed this. They signed the deal with Netflix, so now CW content is only gonna, new content is only gonna be on Netflix, and it's gonna be 8 days after the season finale. That's gonna be the whole show. So I don't know if it's not gonna affect someone like me who watches The Flash on a weekly basis. But in terms of, for instance, I watched the pilot of Crazy Ex-Girlfriend last night. If I were to start watching that show, I'm going to give it another shot. It's a really interesting concept. The fact that it's like a comedy musical about this real crazy preppy girl. That if I were to enjoy it, the concept's really awesome. That, well, I can, instead of wanting to watch it every week with commercials and skipping through them, I can just wait 8 days until the season's over and then binge it all in a go. Like it seems like the most logical progression. I'm sure if this is a big hit and their numbers go up, that another broadcaster could join the fray doing like a very similar thing.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. I mean, because it's the most convenient option, and that's always what's going to win. Is that when the season's over, people don't want to wait 3 months just for the Blu-ray to come out or anything like that. Even though I think the whole season's at least available for purchase.
It used to be, the way it worked is basically when the season was on home video, it would be on Netflix like a week later. And now it's going to be on Netflix like 3 months before it's available on home video.
That's the thing. I don't know anyone
Right?
that collects
No one gets TV shows anymore.
DVDs for like Blu-rays
Yeah.
for TV shows. Yeah, I mean, unless it's like a special Game of Thrones like box set or something.
Even still,
but
it's not.
that's the most. And
I'm not sure
yeah,
people do it
I'm not-
anymore. Because I have a couple of
Yeah,
TV
no,
shows.
I don't think that many people are big collectors of
It's like I
that.
got Twin Peaks, Deadwood, Firefly, and the first season of Smallville. And I think most people that have any kind of home video collection probably have at least one show or season on DVD or Blu-ray. Because
Yeah.
before Netflix and HBO Go and Hulu, it's like, well, I didn't catch it, or I really like it, or I want the special features, or whatever fucking reason someone got it for you for your birthday. Like you got
Yeah.
one, and then if you have them all, it was I got them all, like a good
Yeah,
feel
it's,
to
it's
it.
it's really just for bragging rights. Like that's the thing. When I sold like a bunch of DVDs and Blu-rays, I more or less sold every single TV show that I had just because like, it's easy to like look at a movie and be like, yeah, I want to keep this and I would buy it again. And I like the features on there. For a TV show, it's like, well, how often
Yeah.
does that really have much replay value? And I mean, there's very few shows
I think it's
like
less about
where I would want to dig in the bonus
I
features
think it's
anyway.
less about even replay value for TV. What it really comes down to is even if it's on like a dual layer Blu-ray, at some point you're still going to finish an episode, have to stand up, take the disc out, and put another one in to continue the season. When you're,
No, I don't have
it's
a problem
not
with
it's
that.
not a
I mean, 'cause
major problem.
There are naturally breaks
Yeah, it's
on
not
there, yeah.
like
And plus, you go up and get a snack or something. Like, yeah, I can change the disc in between
sure
times while it's
you
loading on
totally
its
can.
own.
It's not
No
a major
problem.
problem. But the fact is, if you're on Netflix and you don't do anything, it auto plays the next episode for you, and it just enables binge watching to a much higher extent, to the point where
God,
it
that's
does
awful.
that next episode even when the season's over. It jumps to the next season, and it just you're like, oh my god! Like if it wasn't for the messages that pop up every like 4 or 5 episodes that say, "Are you still watching?" I'm sure a lot of people would just like fall asleep and it would finish the show. Would wake up like 2 seasons later. Um,
Oh yeah, no, like that's definitely happened. Like I've had my roommates have been watching Game of Thrones just on HBO Go, and then like they just sleep through it, and I wake up the next morning, I hear that the show's running in like the next season after that. Like it's
what's interesting here though about the CW and Netflix, a lot of CW shows kind of got traction because of Netflix. Like in particular, The Flash
Oh,
this
yeah,
season,
Arrow,
Arrow,
and Flash.
but then even smaller things like iZombie and Supernatural. And so it was a natural fit for Warner Brothers to allow this to happen on Netflix. And what's interesting is like a day after this agreement was met, it was announced that Amazon is now the streaming home for 35 plus Warner Brothers movies. So they're kind of like, not.
Yeah, Netflix is now losing a bunch of
Netflix
stuff.
has already been losing a lot of stuff. We talked months ago about
I feel like their Warner Brothers catalog, though. I mean, like it stood out as some of the most.
stuff you want to see.
Like there's so many well-respected classics in there. It's like holy shit! If you want to watch 2001 on Netflix, you can. That's a big get.
Yeah, I don't
something as big and epic.
I don't
as
know
that.
if that's on Amazon. Here's the 35.
It's on Netflix.
Here's the
but
35 right now. Not all of them, but the standouts. And these have exclusivity on Amazon until the end of 2016. It includes all 4 Lethal Weapon movies, all 3 Matrixes, Caddyshack, Full Metal Jacket, Final Destination, and of course my favorite, You've Got Mail.
Which you can listen to that episode too. It's a good movie.
Yeah,
as
so
well.
not all of
I
these
don't
are
know.
heavy hitters, but the Matrix films, for instance, really are. So if you want to
Oh, yeah.
stream the Matrix now, the only way you can do it is by going to Amazon. And this, I mean, I'm sure it might be on HBO every once in a while again too, but this is just kind of extension of what Warner's did with HBO for Amazon Prime, like giving all of those old shows, like say Sex and the City and Entourage, and the things that are off air, Curb Your Enthusiasm, to the Amazon Prime library before they even had Prime content. This is an obvious continuation of that partnership. But I just thought it was really weird the way it worked with CW siding for TV on Netflix. And it's kind of like, well, Netflix is still for TV, and Amazon's getting the movies. The cooler thing here, though, other than that, being the streaming home, is obviously if you don't have Prime, you can still rent it or buy it on Amazon regardless.
Yeah.
Is that they added this new thing on Amazon Prime. I don't know if you've seen it, but they have like a 99-cent rental service now too, and they're good movies.
Like, really? Not like a 99 cent for the day?
Yeah,
rental,
it's
but, like,
it's for one day, but I'm saying like these films that are available
No, I'm saying like they. I think Vudu has a thing where it's like here's the
Oh
99-cent rental.
yeah,
of
they
the
do
day.
that, and
Like,
then
they pick a
yeah,
different title
Vudu
of
every
day.
week has like the 4.99 HD movies for 1 week. Like even Sony does that on their PlayStation video service.
Yeah, no, I'm saying it's
No,
not
it's not
like
like
that
that.
though,
This
is
is
it?
like all the time. They probably switch them out every couple of weeks, but these are just several movies that are 99 cents just to rent right now. I'm pulling up my app right now. I didn't write these down. So let me just see like deals of the day. No, that's not it. I'm looking for the actual thing. Ooh, let me go back to that. If you're interested, you can rent 10 Cloverfield Lane for $5 on Amazon right now. Um, do they even have the 999?
Well, it seems like everywhere
Is
else,
it?
isn't it?
I'm not sure.
Most places, like most online rentals, either they're $3.99 or $4.99 for new
Hmm.
releases.
I'm looking. Well, I mean, it's been out a little bit now. I'm looking for the 99 cents if it's even in the app on my phone. If not, I'll just put it down. But some of the things I saw, because it doesn't look like they're popping up right now. Um, I can't even remember to be honest. But it was good movies. It wasn't like I think like Walk Among the Tombstone or maybe like Tekken 2 or some shit like that. Like they weren't bad.
Not so
I
great
think like The
movies,
Matrix
but
was on there even, but these were films that if I hadn't seen them, and
hmm
then even if I wanted to see them anyway, and I hadn't seen them in a while, like it's like $1. Oh, that's nothing. Of course I'll fucking rent it. And that's something that obviously Netflix doesn't have going for it. They have just their subscription, and that's it. And these,
well, I think they're getting into a paper stream service, or we talked about that, right?
no.
Last I heard is that they were. Or I don't know if it's like the rumors of it happening, or it's that everyone agrees that should happen. Like, that's going to be a way for them to finally kill off their DVD business. Is that they can do a paper stream for like new releases and stuff like that.
Maybe I don't see it
Yeah.
happening because the way I see Netflix is that it's kind of like the publisher clearinghouse for movies. It's like you paid this much money every month, or not publishing clearinghouse. I mean Columbia fucking Music Club or whatever it's called. You paid this much money, you get this amount of movies. You can watch as many as you want. It doesn't matter. Just pay every month.
Like, yeah, you got a monthly
Yeah,
subscription, but then there's also like another
like
section where you
Amazon.
can
Yeah.
go to, and if it's not something that you got available, yeah, it'll probably have a much better interface than that.
I don't see it
Because
happening because the appeal for Netflix and most of the way subscribers talk about Netflix. I mean, it doesn't happen much anymore. Like evangelism for its service isn't necessary, but they would go, "Oh, you only pay $7.99 a month, and you had access to all of these movies." And if they had a pay window there, if there was something like Amazon, I think that it'd be like, oh, now you're copying Amazon, or you're trying to be like your competitor instead of looking like a good thing. But it is a definite possibility. I could see it happening. Just
yeah, like they could arrange it in a way that will differentiate them still, and they'll still be able to benefit from. I'm sure even profit more so by allowing them to stream new movies and stuff through a rental
perhaps
service.
I don't know how they would set up that infrastructure though.
It's a smart move,
I don't.
honestly, and I think they could like.
I don't think they could get
I
it off
still
the
think there's
ground
plenty of improvement to be made there too.
because it wouldn't just be the tech. Like they have the ability. They're through Amazon servers.
hmm
Like they can definitely handle the bandwidth. I think it's more of getting into dialogue with the studios to set up that kind of pay window, and then also figuring out the billing for something like that. Because Amazon, it makes sense because it's already a digital and physical marketplace that you have an Amazon account. You want the movie of your choice or TV show. You just use your Amazon account, the same password you have across all of their devices. You pay for it, and then it's yours for either 24 hours or forever. And like since it's already a store, it makes sense to have a store built on. As it would be weird, like imagine if Vudu added a subscription model. Like that would seem weird.
That won't
It
happen.
won't
But
happen, but
I
it would
wouldn't.
seem weird.
It'd be like Redbox trying to do a
They had
streaming
one.
service. Yeah, it would
No,
be
they had one,
weird.
and
They
it failed.
did.
They
They
had one,
have?
yeah.
Like
No,
right
no,
now
but
they
they
have
had
one,
one.
or
It was
they
called
had.
Redbox Instant.
Yeah, I know they did. That's
It
what I
was
was
really
getting into.
bad.
That it really did not have anything
It
good
wasn't
on
even
there,
just that. It was also the stream sucked and the interface was horrible. Like everything, I had it for a
and
couple
you
of
could
days.
not hook it up with like a PS3
Yeah,
or
I could.
anything.
No,
Right?
yeah, I did it on my PS3. It was shitty anyway. Yeah, it was real
Did you?
horrible, and it wasn't even called like Redbox Instant. It was like
Or I think it was only
what the
PS3 or
fuck was it?
something
It was
like
called
that.
like Redbox Verizon or something. It was like Redbox something powered by Verizon. That was the official name of it. It was so bad though. Like there wasn't a single thing on there that I was interested in. Like I played with it for a day. But this new get for Amazon with these 35 plus Warner movies for just now, it really adds to their whole for $1 less than Netflix you get 4 times the movies concept. And I've seen not a billboard saying that necessarily, but it does say it's only $8.99 a month, and in your brain you can associate, oh, that's cheaper than Netflix, because the original content, in my opinion, even though there's less of it on Amazon, I still think it's miles above what's on Netflix outside of the Marvel stuff. There's very little on Netflix that I watch that's original. Like I know there's a lot of people out there that love Orange is the New Black or fucking Narcos or Marco Polo, but everything I've seen on Amazon, even if I didn't love it, I still was like, oh, that's really good. Like Transparent, Red Oaks, The Man in the High Castle, all the stuff that I've seen. I haven't seen Bosch. I haven't seen a lot of the stuff that has a lot of acclaim, and it just seems like it's more of a studio than Netflix is, and that's probably just because of how quickly they push stuff out at Netflix. It's like every month or so there's a new movie or a TV show or both. Like this month right now there's Orange is the New Black came out earlier this month, and then they got that Paul Rudd movie that just came out, and I'm sure there's going to be another Adam Sandler one.
What?
Paul Rudd is in a movie, something of the Caring, I don't know, but yeah. He has a movie on Netflix right now. So it's like they consistently, not even consistently, but constantly push out the new shit. But part of that is that you can't...
It just doesn't feel special. It just feels like it's being dumped.
Exactly.
Right?
Like you can't even keep track fast enough to realize that it's coming there. Whereas on Amazon...
Yes, I didn't even know that was happening.
On Amazon,
so, yeah.
with the pilot season, like, he's like, here's what's coming out. We'll make it if you like it. And then they make a big to-do about something having a new season. Like, I'm sure when Mozart in the Jungle season 3 starts, that it's gonna be a huge push. Like, it's gonna be all over the internet for a week or so. So, remember that show that won the Golden Globe last year? It's back. Whereas on Netflix, it's like, Orange is the New Black's back, guys. Hey, enjoy it.
Yeah. Netflix really needs to work on how to communicate things to their audience a lot better.
In the app, you get notifications when certain things are added, and you can like change those things. But yeah, it's still it's kind of a mess, and I think that's partially because they got so big so fast that they didn't have to worry about the little things. It's like they run their content the way that we run the show. It's like we tweet out when the new stuff is out there, but we don't go, oh, by the way, it's coming in 20 days. Wrath of Khan, 2 weeks from now. It's like we don't do that. Netflix doesn't do that either. Maybe they do, but if they do, they don't do it well enough. So I got 2 last things on the show here. The first of which is I guess is cool. I don't really have any allegiance to the property, but the Russo brothers are working on bringing the Warriors to Hulu as a TV show. It's going to be, I don't know, but it's going to be in collaboration with Paramount, who made the movie. First off, it's not an original movie. It's an adaptation of a book, and I don't think the movie's that good in the first place.
It's an adaptation of a story that takes... Okay, it's an adaptation of a story that takes place within the course of one night.
You can... There's TV
so what
shows...
Is that, like a real-time
There's TV shows that take place over the course of one day. 24, for instance. That's a huge hit.
Yeah, well, that's the obvious one, but how's that going to work for the Warriors?
I think it worked really well. One episode equals 1 hour. There's 12 episodes for the first season. That chronicles sundown to sunup. And then you just you make it real intense. Because that movie has a great premise. I just don't think it's done well. And I'd say it's
awesome,
bad.
honestly.
I don't understand why people are so crazy about it. Like why it has such a cult.
It's awesome 70s exploitation. I mean, yeah, and it is a cult movie.
It's a total
when
cult
you say
movie.
It's bad, yeah, I see what you're saying. But,
yeah, no, I don't think it's bad.
Like,
I'm just saying I don't understand why it has the claim it does. Like I didn't dislike it. I just went like if no one had ever talked about it and I saw it, I went, oh, this is kind of cool. But it's not, oh my god, it's the Warriors. Like it's not a quotable movie in my opinion.
I disagree there, but I mean, it's very much a product of its time, and it's got a lot of charms to it, even if they're not necessarily intentional.
Cruising's better.
I have not seen
that.
You know, hey, I'm a fan of almost everything. I'm not going to say that the Russo brothers have done, but everything that I've seen them do. Sure, I guess. I could get behind this, but like. I don't know. See, like, I do have precious memories of the Warriors, so my mind just kind of won't accept it happening in any way whatsoever. Like I do love that movie.
I think it's a great fit for TV. I mean, for Hulu more so than something like AMC, but I'm sure AMC would have done a fine job too. But not just necessarily in time of the time displacement, but Hulu. We're talking about Amazon, Netflix. They're the underdog. I mean, they're currently losing all of their Criterion Collection stuff. They don't have nearly as many movies as the other two, and they really are about TV, not just like the stuff that just came on the night before, but their own content. I haven't seen Casual yet. I know they have Deadbeat. They have a couple other shows like.
Were they even getting the CW stuff at all?
Yeah, CW. Fox.
Yeah, so I mean, now it's kind of pointless there since Netflix is getting it 8 days later.
Well, they're not getting 8 days later. They're getting it 8 days after the season finale.
After the finale,
Whereas
yeah,
Hulu,
exactly.
the whole idea of Hulu is the day after it aired, you can watch it, and so it's great for.
Yeah, and plus, there's commercials unless you pay for.
It's only $11.99 a month for no commercials. So I mean, that's really not that bad. It's more expensive than everything else besides HBO Go. But it's still not bad for the content they had, because I mean they're losing a lot of it right now. But I've been wanting to do a trial for a while to check out Casual, and they have like another show that I want to see. It's like the Weirder People or whatever. So maybe I'll hold off. No, this is just getting announced now, so it's probably gonna be like 5 years from now. Like the Russos are so busy with the 2 Infinity War films that I'm sure that this show is not going to be re-announced for probably like literally 3 years. It's like there's a.
I mean, they're just producing it, so I don't know. They're really busy.
I don't think they're producing. Well, I'm sure they're going to be producers too, but I think that they're more so going to be the creative force behind the adaptation. Like they're not going to run it. They're going to be developing and probably producing as well. But it's going to really have their hands all over it. In the same way, like Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg, yeah, they wrote and directed the first 2 episodes of Preacher on AMC, but they developed it, and it was them that made it happen. I think that this is going to be a similar thing. Like it's the new version of show running, because that is a whole nother thing. Like that's very intensive versus just being the developer. It's like having your name on it from the get-go and kind of...
Yeah, it's like J.J. Abrams.
Yeah, it's like
Lost.
facilitating your vision of something and making it come to the screen, but yet you don't do every single thing involved. It's not your show. It's just the one that you kind of made. And I think that's what this is going to be. It's like, we'll wait. Infinity War Part 2 is going to have a mid-credit sequence where it's a Warriors announcement trailer. It's like, from the guys like brought you Community, Warriors. It could be good.
I don't even want to see them. Like I imagine if anyone tries clinking those bottles and just saying,
that's the worst thing about that
like,
fucking movie.
Don't do it.
I
That's
heard
like...
that quote my whole life, and you don't get it until like 2 minutes before the movie ends, and it's not nearly as good on screen as it is when people say it.
That scene is amazing.
No.
Oh man, yes. Because, I mean, that guy is just such a fucking whiny little bitch that he just gets his comeuppance in the most beautiful fucking way. And it's I love that movie, man. I really do.
Well, here's the final note of the show. Like I said, it's a very slow one, and most of the things are unimportant.
Cool, I can watch Warriors after this.
Steven Soderbergh, he's apparently making a Panama Papers flick when he's done with his next one called Logan Lucky. So he's getting... The Panama Papers, it was like a huge thing that happened a little bit less than a year ago, I want to say. It was basically something like WikiLeaks, except this was about like banking and a lot of stuff to do with the EU. And then there was even some celebrities involved, including like Emma Watson and, oh shit, what's his name, that directed like Automne and Volver and the Spanish director.
Pedro Almodovar.
Yeah, Almodovar, like he was involved in it. But it was basically like a information leak, but it was a fairly big one for that side of the world since they hadn't been involved in something like this before. But the way I see it, it's him going back to doing something that has a political slant to it, kind of the way that Aaron Brockovich or The Informant did. And so that's kind of cool. If this, or I guess you could even say Contagion and Side Effects.
Yeah. It's going to be on TV.
No, this is a movie. I don't know if he's directing this thing. It's just that he's involved in it. Logan Lucky's totally happening. It's got like backing from China. There's a whole bunch of people on board. But yeah, it's a note. In the same way, something that I forgot to make the show. Woody Allen's already getting his cast together for the movie he's making later this year. Like, he's not done with his current one, the Amazon movie, but he's got another one.
Yeah, he's always busy.
Well, I know
like,
he's always
every
busy,
year.
but like they started announcing the cast for his next movie before this movie was done. I was like, that's kind of weird. Uh, where it's like no one even talks about his TV show. Is that even a thing still?
I don't know. Maybe he just struck a deal with, hey, can I just do movies instead? Because I at least know what I'm doing there.
No.
So, I mean, you remember when he brought up the TV show, he just said, I literally don't know what to do. They just said, here's some money and just do something.
It's because he's never done TV.
So
he's probably too worried.
Yeah, I know. So maybe he's just like, hey, could I just do movies? And then they'll just be like, yeah,
well,
yeah.
There's nothing about if this next movie's going to be at Amazon, but I have a feeling like it might be. Just because, like, it seems there hasn't been any kind of rumors about him not having a good relationship with them, and it seems like everyone that's working with them really enjoys.
Yeah, they still like to keep.
So I would imagine that his next movie is going to be there in the same way that Spike Lee's next movie is probably going to be at Amazon also, just because.
Yeah, or probably also Nicholas Winding Refn.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I don't really want to see the Neon Demon, but I do want to see it when it hits Prime. I'm not after what.
No, it's good. You should see it.
I was just gonna say after Only God Forgives. Like, I'm not.
Oh, it's way better.
I'm not risking my movie money on another one of his movies.
You know, like it's exactly what you think it's gonna be, but it's kind of cool for it.
Who was it? I can't remember who it was on Twitter, but someone was like, it might have been Max Landis, but they were like, the Neon Demon is kind of like Tron Legacy, where it's like it's just a visual feast, but there's like nothing there. I was like, yeah, that sounds good.
Sure, I guess. I mean, no, I'll definitely say, like, you know, the Neon Demon is almost like borderline self-parody, but it's so absurd and weird, and like there are scenes of dialogue that are just like, I swear it's absurd in like a showgirl's way.
Okay, I might like it then.
Like I think you might like it. Like it just like I don't know. Like just one of the first lines are from introducing what's her name? The chick that's in Batman v Superman. No. Fuck.
Jenna
I'm blanking
Malone.
on her name. Yeah. No, like a line of dialogue just like literally starts with her like just, you know, Elle Fanning is like looking at herself in the mirror from the distance, and you see Jenna Malone's reflection, and she literally just goes like, "Am I staring?" Yeah, it
sounds horrible.
Really weird ass. There's weird ass lines of dialogue that are like terrible, and like that. What is it? The puppy chow? Is that the?
I love puppy chow.
Yeah, that's the line,
Purina
right?
puppy chow.
There's lines that are like that, which are just like, it just feels so weird. I mean, it's a really weird fucking movie, but I was really, really entertained by it, and so was my crowd.
If there's a sex scene even half as awesome as the one in Showgirls, then, you know, I'll be happy.
Like, the Neon Demon just ends in such a batshit insane way that I'm just like, you know what? Bra fucking vo, actually. I was really entertained by that. It may not necessarily be good, but I definitely enjoyed it.
I'll be giving my critique probably in like 2.5, 3 months whenever it hits Prime.
Yeah. You know, one of the best things about seeing that in the theater, though, is just this really loud, like, pulsating score, which, you know, I mean, it looks like pretty much everything, though, that Nicholas Winding Refn is, like, identified with now is post-Drive, which is, like, you know, all these neon colors everywhere, and just this very loud, like, upbeat electronic score, and it seems like, you know, he's just so aware, like, of what his style is now that he just fucking goes for it. It's so obvious.
I still want to see those Pusher movies.
Yeah,
I wish they were on Netflix,
like,
though.
I know that, I mean, like, I've seen parts of Valhalla Rising. I just couldn't keep going with it, but really, it seems like just after the success of Drive, like, that's his style now. That's just what he's sticking with, and I mean, yeah, the Neon Demon is just kind of like him pushing the limits of that and just trying to see how far he can go with it.
Well, that's the end of the show. Thanks for listening. If you want to give some feedback... Oh, by the way, I almost forgot. We did get feedback this week.
Did we?
Yeah, someone named Annoying Reply.
I didn't get any email.
No, I get notifications on my phone, but someone named Annoying Reply on YouTube, like, reviewed or commented on our whatchamacallit, our Strange Days episode. So you can go to that
Yeah.
video and find what he said. But basically, he's like, I don't know if he's like a troll account. I would guess so based on his name. But he was saying like, you guys really have to find the German Blu-ray copy of this movie and listen to it with a sound system on your OLED display. It's kind of funny, so you should go find that. But yeah, thanks for listening. You can find us all over the internet. So I don't know where you found us, but feel free to leave a comment like No One Reply did, or maybe a review on iTunes. Tweet us out to your
There are
friends.
3 different comments on here.
Yeah, it's the same
Like,
guy. Yeah, there was actually 4. He deleted
wow.
one. Yeah, let us know what we thought. Tweet at us. You can reach me at Brian Gillis. That's BRYONGILLIS. If email's more your thing, you can do Brian at dollarviews.com. Sorry, .net. I don't want the .com. And yeah, thanks for listening. Well, it's been a pleasure.
Have a good night, or a good week, or a good one, or whatever.
Have a
I'm
good.
tired. Wow. Holy shit! Like caffeine had the opposite effect on me just now.